And I quote, "I'll be there in a minute. Give me a second."
Time is relative, folks. Time is relative.
Yes. So, hey, cheers to everybody in the chat.
They're a division rival. I don't care how many wins they get. Screw them.
That wasn't the take I was expecting to hear.
I want to gush over watching live Chris Tanev.
I think that we completely underestimate the skill it takes to play defense.
One highlight or several highlights does not a Calder trophy make.
I'm stepping in here. I'm going to be the crotchety old man here. They need to learn patience. They need to understand the tension and everything and the drama.
How dare! Look at this. How is McDavid not getting a penalty?
You guys need to calm down with this, okay? You guys need to calm down.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? I just want to win a game. Can't even win a game. Playoffs? But we are here. It is playoff time in the National Hockey League. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks podcast. You can follow us on Twitter /X6 Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks. You can subscribe wherever you get your audio as well. And yes, it is playoff time. Playoffs begin this weekend. 3 games will start Saturday. 4 games will start on Sunday. And then a series will start on Monday night as well. And we are going to preview each matchup of this and talk about the playoffs, where the teams we follow are not part of, but that's okay. Hello in Calgary to Sean. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, survived the latest blizzard that has rolled through Calgary spring weather. But we're supposed to get up to 20 degrees next week, so it's I don't know what to do anymore.
I think you live in Mordor.
No, I can't. Mordor is hot and lava-y and dark and.
Where did they go where there was snow? I can't remember right now.
The Misty Mountains.
The Misty Mountains. You live in the Misty Mountains. We have a guest from Ontario, though, Sean. It's been a long time.
I know. It's the younger, better-looking version of me.
Yes. It is the Joe Hendry of our podcast. Devin is with us. Devin, how the hell are you?
I'm good. Busy as hell. Traveling all across Western or Eastern. I'm used to saying Western Canada, but now I'm in the East. So Eastern Canada. Super busy, but fucking happy to be back. That's for sure.
Great to have you back. So we're going to preview the playoffs. There is a lot of news today about the Vancouver Canucks. We are going to save that conversation for this weekend, where Tyler and Chris will join and kind of unpack a lot of the things. We're teasing Chris, but maybe won't. But Tyler can come on and join, and we can unpack a fairly meaty news day for the Vancouver Canucks. So we're going to set that aside, but we will talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs a little bit later. But we're here to talk about the playoffs, the much ballyhooed playoff format this year. But I will point out some fascinating matchups. The Battle of Pennsylvania, May Day, where Buffalo is in the playoffs for the first time since 2011, facing one of the last teams that they faced in the playoffs, the Boston Bruins. Mormons will be facing Sinners when Utah faces Vegas. Edmonton is facing Los Angeles, but they are not going to Hollywood this time. They are going to Disneyland. And Anze Kopitar is doing its final run against the Colorado Avalanche. And we have a Stanley Cup final rematch from 2021 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then you got Ottawa, Carolina as well, and then Minnesota, Dallas. All in all, with all the complaints about the playoff format, this card, I don't think I think we'll get into how the matchups will be, but I think you've got a pretty entertaining first round. Am I missing something?
No, it's the best. It's the best playoff format in pro sports, and all this moaning that we hear every year by content creators looking to create discussion is just that. Sit down, shut up, and enjoy the fucking hockey.
Well,
And
this year, go ahead, Devin.
The first round is normally the best hockey, anyways, because the teams haven't gone through the gauntlet of first, second, third round. Because usually the most boring part about the NHL playoffs is usually third and fourth round because they're just so damn tired. So you do have some matchups that are could be considered quote unquote like the Stanley Cup final with Dallas, Minnesota. Realistically, you could do the same with Montreal, Tampa, and Buffalo, Boston, in my opinion. So, it's good to get the good matchups out of the way so it's not as much of a slog in the long run, if you want to think about it that way.
I think the complaint. I think this year the Pacific people are complaining about the Pacific Division being so bad, but that's an aberration because this was the lowest point total for them for a first place team in this decade since the bubble that Vegas had. So that's part of the complaint, and we'll get into all of that in a little bit. But do we want to start in the East or the West?
Let's start out east because we got Devin here.
Okay, so let's start with the first series, which is the Ottawa Senators and the Carolina Panthers facing. They start 3:00 Eastern.
Kev.
Yes.
This is the NHL, not the NFL.
What did I say?
Hurricanes.
Oh,
You
no,
said the Carolina Panthers.
Okay. All right. So the Ottawa Senators are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, not the Carolina Panthers. Oh, by the way, can I just make a point? There was not a hell of a lot of bitching about the Carolina Panthers being first place 7-9 in the NFL last year. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, fascinating. A lot of people are kind of calling this the most boring matchup. I don't know if I necessarily agree.
Well, as you went through all the other matchups,
Yeah, I forgot this one.
there's just a little more intrigue with all the other ones, and then you've got Ottawa. I mean, the intrigue with this one is: will Ottawa implode, or can they come together as a team?
Yeah,
Well, as long as Brady's healthy, I think that's a big catalyst within this as well, right? And you have a plucky Ottawa team that's coming in for the second year in a row. I believe they just won 5 games with Toronto last year, if my memory serves me right, but I could be wrong. So they do have a little bit more playoff experience than they would have last year, obviously, but you coming in with Carolina, who has a shit ton of playoff experience. They go to the Eastern Conference Final, it seems like, every year. To me, it comes down to, I think Sean's right, the team coming together, but it comes down to goaltending. Like, holy fuck, if you're looking at potentially 3 goaltenders in Carolina that you want to start, you don't have a starter, right? So Kochetkov, he's almost back. Anderson, he's always fucking hurt. He'll be hurt in the first period of the first game. And then you have Brandon Bussey. Who knows what the hell he's going to bring, considering the inconsistency within his year this year. And then you're on the other side, you have Allmark. For all you know, you could see fucking James Reimer in the net. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, goaltending is a big question for both of these teams in this series, for sure. I think Brandon Bussey was mostly. I think he's the second best story this year in terms of individuals. I think Devin Cooley is the best goaltending story this year, in my opinion. I'm biased though.
I was going to say you're a little bit biased on that there, Kev.
That's fair, but yeah. But you look at this Carolina team, and it's like you look at that blue line. I like this blue line. I think Jacob Slavin's one of the best defensive players in hockey. I think Jalen Chatfield is coming into his own. They brought in Keandre Miller. Shea Gostisbehere is there. Sean Walker's there. Ottawa's blue line. There's a lot. One of the other questions is going to be Jake Sanderson's health, which that's a question. How much is Thomas Chabot going to play? And then this forward group for Carolina, you've got, I give Carolina a lot of credit finding a way to get Logan Stankoven and finding a way to get something out of an awkward situation last year with Mikko Rantanen. I feel like a lot of people are picking Ottawa, and I still think it's Carolina. I just think that they're the more connected team here. I like that forward group. I think Sebastian Aho is a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit. I think Nikolai Ehlers will add something. I just think that forward group is a bit more complete than Ottawa's. I think this blue line in Carolina is a bit more complete. I am concerned about the Carolina goaltending. I have no doubt about it. But again, I think that a lot of Ottawa's flaws has been in goaltending as well. So I don't know where Ottawa has a specific edge.
I like Carolina. You've got 7 20-goal scorers. As you mentioned, Stankoven, Aho, Ehlers. They've got one of my favorite players in the league in Seth Jarvis.
Yep.
Are we gonna see the good old boys in this in this series? I hope so.
Jarvis people, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, then they've also got Jackson Blake and Jordan Stahl, who all got 20 goals, and then they've got a cup. They've got some good offensive defensemen that can move the puck, and then, as you mentioned, Jacob Slavin anchoring that blue line as one of the best defensive defensemen, if not the best defensive defenseman in the league right now. But yeah, it really is going. The X factor here really is goaltending. Can Allmark and his mindset be good enough? Which goal is gonna be the one for Carolina? And if Carolina can get the goaltending, I just think they're too deep, and they'll find a way. In my opinion.
For me, the catalyst is the third line. It's always been the third line on the forwards that can be game changers. And to me, it's Carolina. You have Jordan Stahl centering, Ehlers and Martinook. That veteran presence plus the pop that Ehlers can have offensively. It's hard to look away from that. When on the opposite side, you do have a Shane Pinto who's I think he's underrated with what he does after his suspension for allegedly gambling. I think he's come to his own and has popped. He's centering Michael Amadio, who's been bouncing around, but he does a good job. Nick Cousins, who everybody fucking hates. So I think overall, if you look at the third line duo or the trio matching up against each other, to me, it's Carolina. As much as I would love to see Ottawa do well and go on to the next round, even if Ottawa does get the goaltending, I think they're just going to be run out of the rink with wave after wave of Rod Brindamore's the way that he deploys his troops.
Yeah.
Don't forget about fourth line on the Carolina Hurricanes with Calgary Flames legend Mark Jankowski centering it.
Yeah, it's a hard to forget Mark.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Hilariously, the Flames finally have Oli Mata.
Yeah. God. Finally. Yeah.
Mr. 14 points in 12 games. Like, holy fuck. Are you kidding me?
No. Yeah.
But yeah, you do look at the bottom sixes of both teams there. You got Jordan Stahl, Ehlers on the third line that's a game breaker. That's a scheme breaker, a matchup breaker for Carolina. and then you look at Ottawa. They don't have that. Like they got Fabian Zetterlund, Lars Eller, and Warren Fogle on their fourth line. So I think because as you said, the wave after wave of Carolina, with especially their top, like all their top nine, it's going to be tough for Ottawa to match up. If Ottawa wins, it's because Carolina's goaltending doesn't step up, and then Sanderson and Shabbat step up for Ottawa.
Yeah. This is a series, and I also think Brady Tkachuk needs to take a step too for his legacy. But I just think
Maybe stop podcasting with his old man.
Yeah, that he needs to. Yeah, he needs to not do that. Like, you are brothers. There's a difference between you two and Brady and Matthew. What Brady and Matthew ended up doing, it's like, oh god.
Well, it's hilarious. Like, it was just Brady and Matthew. It was fine. It was silly, stupid brother shit, and then they get Keith in there, and he's the one like poking the bear, making the bullshit comments, making the most toxic hockey dad comments of all time. It's just like, get off the podcast, Brady, if you want to win a playoff round.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we're all in agreement. Carolina wins in
6.
I'll say 6. I'll say 6. Yeah. It's gonna be fun though. I think this, as you said, there's not as much intrigue in this series as others, but it's going to be a fast and physical series to watch.
It's gonna be fun. Like both teams have a lot of speed, and they're gonna go balls to the wall, especially with Ottawa. I think Ottawa has the underdog card to them, so you can't count them out. But yeah, it's nothing to scoff at as far as watchability. It's not like the Devils versus Rangers back in early 2000s.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's some underrated villains in this series too. Devin, you mentioned Nick Cousins. Don't forget Ridley Gregg, Seth Jarvis. Sean, you mentioned him. He can be a villain. Andrei Svechnikov is not a nice man on the hockey ice as well. So, Next one. This is the Battle of Pennsylvania. It is the Philadelphia Flyers, who we all expected to make the playoffs. And it's the Pittsburgh Penguins, who we all expected to make the playoffs. Sorry, I feel like this series is going to hurt Devin the most because of what Kyle Dubas has done. But Sidney Crosby went to Kyle Dubas and said, rebuild, and pardon my French, fuck you in this rebuild. We're going to the playoffs. And so both of these teams are in the playoffs. Philly, younger team. Some of their young guys have kind of popped. Of course, Pittsburgh, I think Erik Karlsson has had a little bit of a resurgence. Dan Muse has done a really good job as head coach of the Penguins, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets votes for coach of the year. I think we're going to be talking about the coach of the year in another series, though. And then you got another story in terms of goaltending, I think an underrated story, and I'll have a little bit of bias on this as well, but Dan Vladar and the work that he's done for Philadelphia, an underrated goaltending story. But also, let's not forget what Stuart Skinner has done for Pittsburgh, and that combination of Skinner and Seeloffs they've survived. There may be better goaltending than a series that we're going to talk about in a bit, which might be hilarious what might happen here. Oh my gosh, can you imagine the drama? But does anyone see a way for Philly winning this series?
Martone's going to have to play out of his mind. Tippett's going to have to play out of his mind. Mitchkov's going to have to take a step. Like, you look at the Flyers roster. They are driven by their young players who have not seen anything like this, and they're going up against the best hockey player in our generation. It's going. I have a hard time. Also, I do love that it is basically it's the Battle of Pennsylvania, but the goaltending is just Battle of Alberta throat cast-offs.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't. You cannot bet against Sidney Crosby. I just can't do it.
I think
Like
the only way.
Go for it, Dev.
Yeah, the only way you forgot Zegras as well in there, Sean, as well.
Yeah.
For stepping up and taking a step, as we've said already. To me, it comes down to if Philly has a chance, it's going to be Dan Vladar off of his back, honestly. And I think he has it in him for a couple of games in this series, but the consistency of coming in and stepping up, it's going to be hard when you do have that world-class talent of guys who've been there before, Crosby, Malkin, Rust, the
Letang, Girard.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have your third line, once again, Ben Kindle, who's had a hell of a year. I think he's going to take a step with having Crosby as his point man, his mentor, and Igor Chinnikov coming in from Columbus as well. There's a lot of firepower. It's going to be ridiculous if Philly does do it, but it's going to be a bloodbath. Don't think it's going to be just Pittsburgh, coming in and run the show. The Broad Street Bullies, that's their legacy for Philly, and don't think that they're not going to come out swinging, because they will.
Yeah, it'll be skill versus grit in this series a little bit more, because you've got Konechny, you've got Noah Cates, Couturier is a gritty guy. They got Garnet Hathaway on up front. Then you've got the blue line. The blue line on Philly is not super overly physical and big, but Rasmus Ristolainen's doesn't shy away from that. But yeah, when you look at it is interesting with this one is that you do have a lot of young players who haven't quite been there on both teams. As you said, Ben Kindle, and I mentioned a few of the young guys on Philly, but you got Christian Dvorak, who's sort of he's slid into that second line role there, but he's not necessarily the guy you want, an ideal second line center for you right now, right? And that's kind of the same way with and it's kind of the same way with Pittsburgh too. You've got the Yali Yarncrocs twin, Ricard Raquel, playing center for the Penguins. For those who don't know, this is an old school joke of Kevin will never live down. But but Noel Chari, Blake Lizotte, Connor Dewar on the fourth line for Pittsburgh. I think it might be the matchup breaker for the Pens. I like that skill grit combo on that line.
Yeah, and Anthony Mantha, kind of a nice comeback story after missing last season with an injury, or most of last season with an injury with the Flames. Came in on a PTO, I believe, with Pittsburgh, and he's contributed really well. Yeah, I think this one is going to be quick. I have Pittsburgh in 5, but I don't know where you guys are at on that.
I'll say Pittsburgh I'll say Pittsburgh in 6. I think Philadelphia will find a way to squeak out a couple wins.
I'll go Pittsburgh in 7.
Okay.
I think their young bucks in Philly are gonna surprise some people.
As much as you don't want to bet against Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and all that, yeah, Talkett's system is always sort of muddles things down, and it's never easy.
No.
So, yeah, Kev, you talked about this being the series that Devin hates the most. This also might be the series I hate the most because I don't want to see quitter Talkett do anything in these playoffs.
Mr. Meet pressure with pressure,
And
and then run away.
and and then run.
You know what's funny is we haven't talked about two-time Stanley Cup finalist Stuart Skinner back there too. You know, it's funny because they make fun of. They said, you know, a lot of people say that that trade with Edmonton, you'd basically just have the exact same goalie, just have a different name bar back there, and which is kind of funny and kind of true. But Stuart Skinner, I think he's going to be a big part of this as well, depending on whether or not they'll probably start with Skinner. And if he doesn't go well within the first two games, they'll go to Seelovs. But it will be, I'm intrigued to see how Skinner does under this pressure in Pittsburgh in comparison to Edmonton.
Yeah. And like, not only that, like that, could you imagine that happening? Like Pittsburgh gets all the way and Edmonton gets all the way.
Oh my God.
It'll be so good.
But the on the other side of the same coin, you have if Philadelphia goes all the way and Anaheim goes all the way, you've got Zegras and Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah, Drysdale as well.
Yeah,
And Drysdale, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like. I think you've got a puncher's chance, so not a big one that either of these teams make it deep, but it's funny with those that both with the Edmonton connection and the Anaheim connection on both these teams.
Yeah, it is absolutely, yeah, it is kind of fascinating here for sure. Well, let's go to Buffalo, where this is going to be by far the most interesting crowd in the first two games, as it's the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres, first time in the playoffs in 14 years, ending that long playoff streak and handing that mantle off to Detroit. That's now at 10 years in a row. Yeah, I think this crowd in Buffalo is going to be one of the most interesting things that I'm going to watch, because it's a fantastic fan base. It's a fantastic crowd. It has been waiting far too long for playoffs, but they're here now. Boston, I feel like a lot of people they slipped under the radar here a little bit in terms of like everybody wasn't sure what was happening there. They went to Marco Sturm as a head coach. I don't know where he is on the Coach of the Year platform. This underratedly, though, I think might be a more vicious series than people realize here. Like, of course, Boston's going to come in with some anger, but Buffalo, they don't have palm trees, but they sure the hell have fists. And you ask the Tampa Bay Lightning, because both of their games were feisty games. This has just a historic, of course, you got the Mayday call. There's a rivalry here. I'm cheering for Buffalo. But I look at this forward group and I look at both of these teams I liked both of these teams' blue lines, but I look at both of these forward groups and I'm not sure, other than Tage Thompson, if I'm completely sold on what Buffalo has on forward. They have Ryan McLeod as their number 2 guy who brings some playoff experience. David Pastrnak in Boston, I think some people are going to put him in the Hart conversation because he got 100 points. There's Elias Lindholm, there's that one line that they get, but it's gonna have someone in this year for either of these teams to win. Someone else is gonna have to step up.
I'm going to push back on you, Kev. There, I think Buffalo has a better top 9 than the Boston Bruins. Payne Krebs, I think he's underrated for what he does. He has the piss and vinegar. He has that grit. Tage Thompson, obviously 40 goal scorer perennially. Alex Tuck has that grit as well, and he has that skill that he can do, or he has within his skill set. Zucker can score. Ryan McLeod, grit, the speed, wins draws. Jack Quinn, underrated. Josh Doan, underrated. Josh Norris, if he can stay healthy, he's a solid third line center. And Zach Benson has piss and vinegar. If you go down the list of the other top 9, it's just, it doesn't have the same effects. Starting with obviously Geeky, he had a great start to the year. Lindholm, Pasternak, solid first line. Middlestad, he's a 3A 2B guy to me. Zaka, he wins draws. Arvidsson, he's very hot and cold. Then James Higgins, who the fuck are you? Fraser Minton, I don't want to hear that name ever again. And then you have I'm going to butcher this. He looks like a Russian, Belarusian. I don't know. Starts with a K.
Marat Kuznetsov.
There you go. I just don't know. Like if you put them up against each other, I would say that Buffalo has a better top 9.
Yeah, I agree with Dev. I think the top 9 goes to Buffalo there. I do like that third line that they have with centered by Josh Norris, and as opposed to the Fraser Minton, James Higgins line, which again good, but like they're young, and they haven't seen that as much. They haven't seen that as much. And then again, Ryan McLeod is that trade looks like almost like it's working out for both teams. Even though I think the Oilers are missing the grit that Ryan McLeod brings. But when you look at Josh Doan as a 25 goal scorer on that third line as well for Buffalo, I do like the depth of Buffalo a little bit more. And I also like the blue line on Buffalo more as well. Like you've got Owen Power, you've got Rasmus Dahlin, who's sounds like he's a front runner for the Norris, and then the third pair for Buffalo of Morgan Stanley and Luke Schenn, like that's yeah, like I like that more than Andrew Peak and Nikita Zadorov. Let alone you've got Mason Laura and Hampus Lindholm on the second pair for Buffalo. Like both are really good top 6s, but I just like the physicality that honestly both third pairs bring. But the Nikita Zadorov experience we've as Canucks and Flames fans we've both experienced. He could be an X factor in good and bad ways, and I think both. Yes. I think Stanley and Logan Stanley, not Morgan. There we go, got it right.
We're not doing finance.
Stanley and Shen are just steadier. They're more reliable, and that's what you want in a physical. This is going to be a physical, mean series, and might be the one that I paid most attention to.
Not to mention Sam Carrick as well. He's day to day, and he'll be on that fourth line as well, and he'll crash and fight everybody. So.
And then Boston's got Tanner Jeannot and Mark Kastelik, who are do not shy away either. Like that, the bottom 6 on both, like the fourth lines on both these teams are built to punish.
Yep.
And like, you mean the one thing here? I mean, you talked about that Ryan McLeod trade, but that Bowen Byram trade that they made 2 seasons ago now, and then they signed him to the contract. That turned out to be a smart move for Buffalo, keeping him around. Of course, there was a lot of rumors about him moving. Owen Power, they kind of hung into. Rasmus Dahlin is some people's Norris's pick. Yeah, I'm actually going with Buffalo here. And the other trade that a lot of people were scratching their head about that kind of turned out, although Michael Casseroline's not in the lineup, but getting Josh Doan was also for that JJ Paterka trade. That turned out great for both teams as well, for Utah and for Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo here, though. I like, you guys are right. I like this blue line. I think the emotion of having home ice advantage, I think carries them. And I think depth wise, I feel like Buffalo is the stronger team.
If Buffalo has the goaltending, that's going to be Buffalo. But Swayman, he's going to have he's going to be potentially goalie of the year, right? He'll be up there in voting. So you got to take a look at that as well. But yeah, I'd say Buffalo in 7.
Buffalo in 6. And then the qualification on that is they need to win game 1. If they win game 1 and they get that barn absolutely rocking the way it should be, especially to start game 2 because they're up 1-0. Oh, it's going to be tough for Boston to come back from it.
Yeah, I have Buffalo in 7, but I think it's a good series. The final one is the rematch from the bubble playoffs that we try to forget, but the Montreal Canadiens are facing the Tampa Bay Lightning, two fairly different teams. Of course, the Canadiens kind of in this height of where they are to be. They're certainly, a lot of people feel that this is a team that's going to be in the playoffs for a long time to come. So at least Keith Pelly can watch Montreal now in the playoffs as we go forward, because they'll be on TV a lot. So that'll be good. And then, of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning have faced the Florida Panthers the last couple of years. They have don't have to face the Florida Panthers this year because the Panthers are not in the playoffs. But they're going to face a very exciting team in Montreal. This is arguably, I think there's an argument that this is the best series, although we'll talk about another one that I think a lot of people are going to bring up for sure. Do you know who has led the league in fights this year, folks?
I'm going to say it's Montreal because you think Tampa?
I'd say
no,
Tampa.
It is actually Tampa.
Okay.
It's Tampa that has led in fight. So this underratedly will be I think there's some villains in this series as well. Of course, Nikita Kucherov is a villain and maybe a superstar. Victor Hedman, if he's back, is a nasty player. You got Brandon Hagel. He is no silver. He's no flower himself. Montreal has some nasty players. I expect that Brendan Gallagher is going to have some sort of impact in the playoffs, even though he hasn't played much. Josh Anderson is going to be a problem. Mike Matheson is going to be a problem. And you got Arbor Xhekaj as well. You've got two of the best lines in hockey with Nick Suzuki, Uri Slafkovsky, and Cole Caulfield versus Braden Point, Jake Genskill, and Nikita Kucherov. Sorry, I wanted to say Andrei Vasilevsky because, of course, that's maybe the biggest difference in this series is you've got one of the best goaltenders in the world against one of the youngest goaltenders in the world, depending on where Montreal goes. But you got Vasilevsky probably against Jacob Doraj for Montreal. What are you guys thinking about this series?
I think it's going to be tough for Montreal to keep up with the physicality that Tampa Bay knows how to play with. You've got Demidov, you've got Caulfield, but both are smaller, skilled guys. And can they make that transition to big boy physical playoff hockey?
Yeah, for me, it leans Tampa Bay's way because of their pedigree and like they're just their experience. Like it will be. I think Montreal will push back, and it's going to go to 6 or 7 games. But overall, it's hard to go against that lineup. Vasilevsky, top goaltender in the league, in my opinion. And you have the game breakers point. Maybe not so much this year, but I think he'll show up for the playoffs. Kucherov, Brandon Hagel, who's a gamer, Cirelli, who's a gamer, Gensel, who's a gamer. We haven't really seen much of what this Montreal team can do. Now, would I be surprised if Montreal does end up winning this series? Not really, no. Look at their head coach. He's been an underdog his entire career, pretty much, as a player. And there's just so much young depth within this roster. Oliver Kapanen, Zachary Bolduc on that third line with Kirby Doc. Talk about third lines being game breakers. They'll have their matches for sure throughout that entire lineup. But man, I think Montreal isn't going to get pushed over, but it's going to be hard for them to push back.
Yeah, the other challenge that Montreal has is Noah Dobson has a foot injury, and we're not sure where he is coming back to, and that's going to be huge. And I'm not super sold on the middle six of this lineup with Montreal. I think that they needed to get a second line center. And I'm sure they were trying to get Nazem Kadri or someone, and they didn't. And I think that that's the other problem that they're going to run into here. And that Tampa blue line is still a good blue line. I mean, you kind of like Mikhail Sergachev trade worked out for both teams as well, because JJ Moser's playing a lot in Tampa Bay. You got the revelation of Darren Radish as well, and you got Victor Hedman. So yeah, I'm picking Tampa. I think this goes 6 for myself, but I think Montreal. I think that there's going to be some really good hockey games to watch here, but I just don't feel that middle 6, that second, third line for me in Montreal concerns me.
Is Montreal going to ask Gary if they can play every Saturday night so that Cole Caulfield can score at least a couple?
Well, they're not playing They're not playing tomorrow, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got Tampa in 5. I just don't, as you said, Kev, the depth of the middle 6 for Montreal, and just Tampa knowing how to play big physical playoff hockey, and a lot of the skilled guys for Montreal mostly being smaller. I just don't think they'll be able to. I just think Tampa will be able to grind them down in each game and find a way to win in 5.
Devin?
I thought I said I would go 6 for Tampa.
All right. So basically, we're all in agreement. Carolina, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Tampa. So the East is solved. Let's go West. This one is probably the biggest mismatch. The LA Kings, although it's the Anze Kopitar last ride, maybe the Drew Doughty last ride here too. Let's not forget that. Taking on the President Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche. They brought back Cale Makar is back and ready to go for the playoffs. The Kings did bring in Artemi Panarin, and I think he's been a help for them. But I'm not. Maybe I'll ask it this way: can the Kings win a game? Like, I'm not being facetious here, but can the Kings win a game? Because this feels like the biggest mismatch right now.
I think, they can. Yes, they can. Will they? I don't know. Like you've got Doughty. Brant Clark is someone that if LA is going to have even a chance, Brant Clark's got to step up, as well as Quentin Byfield. Like those are your those are the ones you got. Kempe, you've got Kopitar, Panarin. That's a solid first line, but Byfield needs to drive play on that second line because without that, I don't know where the offense is coming from. The secondary offense is coming from.
Devin's silence speaking enough here.
Unfortunately,
Did we lose him? Oh, we got frozen. Oh, there is Devin. Okay. Devices not connected. There he is. Oh,
good old technology. It was me last time, and last time Devin was on. This time it's Devin. So
there we go.
Yeah, my computer just decided to do a restart. So it's a beautiful timing. And I have none of my notes, so I'll be doing this off the cuff, which is always fun.
My basic question, just if you missed it, Devin, is can the Kings win a game?
No. Straight up, they're going so quick.
Oh shoot.
Devin, if you can hear us, your mic.
Yeah, no, there's.
Go ahead. Now.
Beautiful, good.
There we are.
Hello. This is better.
Hello.
Okay. So yeah, my answer is no. They're not going to win a game. It's going to be 4 straight, and it'll be a waste of 9 days,
8
as
days.
Daryl said.
Yeah.
A good old
8
Darylism.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one is the most straightforward of series. The other one is not. It is the Minnesota Wild taking on the Dallas Stars. A lot of people think this is the main event. A lot of people are pushing back because these are the second or third best teams. This has been the playoff matchup everybody's kind of complaining about. Well, we don't need to have that discussion. This is Quinn Hughes versus Miro Heiskanen. This is one team that has been to the conference finals, between one team trying to get to that next step and doing everything they can. Kirill Kaprizov versus Mikko Rantanen, Jake Ottinger versus the Minnesota goaltending, who they have not committed to who's starting game one. Heiskanen is expected to play the first game, according to Glenn Gullickson, which is another fascinating part of this thing. Glenn Gullickson coaching the the Dallas Stars, pardon me. Where do we start in this series?
I think it is unfortunately going to be. We already have the attrition issues with Dallas. You've got, as you said, you got Heiskanen with injury. You've got I think Robertson's fighting a bit of an injury as well. So I think that unfortunately for Dallas, that might be the issue, is that you have top end players that are injured that might hamper your chances in this series.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Rupe Hintz as well, injured.
That's it. No, not Robertson. It's Rupe Hintz that's injured. Yes.
Yeah, so he's injured as well. I think the experience, if all was perfect, I think you go Dallas, but I think because it's not, it feels like Minnesota has the edge. I love that. Of course, I'm a big fan of that Minnesota blue line. I know that probably there's going to be a lot of sour watching of this series as well because of Quinn Hughes, but just making sure. I'm keeping an eye on Devin as I'm talking here. Sorry. There.
He's back.
There he is.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, so blue lines for Minnesota, Dallas. I think, of course, there's also Tyler Myers as well was also part of this series. Dallas's deep blue line is huge. Devin, where are you at with this Minnesota Dallas series?
Man, I hope it goes 7. I hope they just fucking beat the shit out of each other, and it's gonna be like, if you're looking at game breakers, this is where Kirill Kaprizov needs to make his a stamp on his playoff career, and if he's able to do that, I think it's just a 51% chance that Minnesota would come out as the winner. There's just so many different similarities, similarities to each of these teams. You have Heiskanen and Hughes. I know they're not on the same level. I'd have Hughes over Heiskanen, but they as far as like number one defenseman, it's hard to really choose one of those two. Well, obviously you would choose Hughes, but you know what I'm saying. You have Randon, Kaprizov. You have Johnson, who came out and scored 40 this year. Robertson, who scored 40 this year. There's so many different ways you can kind of look at this. And to me, what it really comes down to is goaltending. Is Jake Ottinger going to be able to actually live up to his potential? And I know this is only the first round, but like we were talking about before at the very beginning of the pod, some of the best matchups are in the first round, and this is one of the best matchups maybe I'm biased towards because this is happening now, but this is probably one of the best matchups going into the first round that I've seen in a while. As far as two juggernauts going at it, so are Gustafsson and Jesper Wallstedt are it's probably going to be Gustafsson's net, but I have a feeling that they're not going to hold him to it. If he's going to falter a little bit, they'll go to Wallstedt if they need to. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be rugged. It's going to be high scoring. Some games, I think it's going to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Don't discount Minnesota's bottom six being a nasty problem. They added Michael McCarron and then Marcus Foligno. So their fourth line is Michael McCarron, Marcus Foligno, and Nick Foligno. Yakov Trenin is a problem. And I think that might be the difference maker in this series might be Matt Boldy, who put up a very quiet 40 goals this year. Not a lot of attention was given to him, but that was a quietly good season for Matt Boldy. You've got Brock Faber, you've got Thomas Harley. It's very fascinating. I should mention that Quinn Hughes missed a couple of practices, but I'm sure he's going to be fine for the series. I'm actually picking Minnesota, though. I just I do have concerns about both teams' center ice position overall going forward. But I just think that Minnesota looks a little healthier. And I think if Minnesota makes this a physical series, I don't believe that Dallas can match up with it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am not. Jake Ottinger had that incredible series against the Calgary Flames a number of years ago. I think he's been fairly inconsistent since. I'm not necessarily one of these guys. I'm not necessarily sold that Jake Ottinger is the elite goalie everybody else thinks he is. I'm picking Minnesota in 7.
I like Dallas's blue line's big, and it can handle the physicality that Minnesota can bring. I agree with you, Kev, that Matt Boldy is the X factor is going to be an X factor for Minnesota. His 42 goal season, 85 points. In that draft class, Cole Caulfield was the big name that dropped that people were yelling and screaming about. We're going to make this about the Canucks here, and then when they drafted Pod Colson. but Matt Boley was the pick there for them, and he is so good, all around physical, can score. So I think and it's not like if Dallas is healthy, they've got the depth, they've got the nastiness as well. They've got Ernie. Faxa's can get dirty. Michael Bunting's on Dallas. Jamie Benn's on the third line, and we know he's not afraid to get physical. So I think I'm gonna say I'm gonna take a leap and say Dallas in 6, because I think that Heiskanen they're gonna have Heiskanen in game 1, and they'll get Hintz will come back and provide a nice jump for them once he starts playing in like game 3.
Yeah, I'm going Wild in 7.
This is going to be a great series, no question. Like I don't think this can go any way. This is absolutely going to be a lot of fun to watch. And this one is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think might be a better series. I think this quietly might turn out to be a very entertaining series, as it's Sinners versus Saints. The Utah Mammoth, first appearance in the playoffs, go to John Tortorella in Vegas. Of course, they make the coaching change late in the year. Bruce Cassidy for John Tortorella. They essentially run the table to win the Pacific Division and host the Utah Mammoth. It's also, of course, the Calgary Flame connection. Rasmus Anderson and Mackenzie Weegar face off in the playoffs against each other here. Weegar's first playoff appearance since the Florida Panthers, I believe, since that series happened. Low key, this. I mean, I think Vegas comes in obviously with the experience, but Utah is a fascinating team. There's a lot to be excited about. The goaltending in this series might be, if it isn't the worst, it's going to be the second worst, because Carter Hart, lots of questions. Karel Vejmelka, lots of questions. I think this will be a higher scoring series as well. I think both teams will score a lot just because of the poor goaltending. Let me start this. If Utah wins this series, is it considered an upset?
I mean, Vegas has the home ice advantage, so you have to kind of say that. I think they end up with a couple more points, anyways, too. So
for me, it's I don't think so. I think this is a Utah Mammoth team that is going to surprise people in this playoffs. I love the Utah Mammoth. I love the way they play. Their top 9 is underrated, and they do have the depth there. They have the grit. They have the scoring. Dylan Guenther is very underrated. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm sure I think he popped over 35 goals, maybe 40 goals this year. If you guys can correct me on that, that'd be fantastic as well. But overall, I love the depth. I love the defense. And I think the goaltending is going to be the biggest X factor, in my opinion, with this. Vegas, they've had a hard time figuring out what the fuck's going on in their goaltending in the net. I believe Carter Hart's only played 7 games this year. Aiden Hill is a shadow of himself. Vejmelka, he can be a liability, and he can be kind of you can see his name bar every once in a while when he shouldn't. But overall, I think my edge is towards the Utah Mammoth. I think they're going to have the upset and beat the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games.
this series this is a redemption attempt for Mitch Marner after all those years in Toronto. Sorry, Devin. But the one thing I will say, I actually think Utah's blue line is better than Vegas's blue line. I think just feels a bit more complete, like more veteran presence. You got Ian Cole, of course, from Vancouver. Nate Schmidt, Mikhail Sergachev. I think Mikhail Sergachev is one of the more underrated defensemen in this league. I mean, forward-wise, I think with Jack Eichel, I think top line, you could probably give that to Vegas, but I think Utah, after that, I think their wings are very strong with Keller, Peterka, I mentioned Dylan Gunther. There's a nastiness with this Utah team as well. Brandon Tanev, Michael Carcone. Just sounds like a nasty, he sounds like he's with the mob. Lawson Krause, Liam O'Brien. I'm actually going to pick Utah in this series. I think I agree with you, Devin. I think this goes 6. I think it'll be especially if they can get a win in Vegas. That crowd in Utah is going to be very ready for some cheering there. That'll be an interesting crowd in and of itself.
I'm going to say Vegas wins this. You've got a team that's young, Utah team that got young, and they do match up well, but I do think Vegas will find a way. The same thing what I said about Tocchet, I'll say about Torts is he just finds a way to grind things down, and they've got a veteran team in Vegas. They'll be able to find a way.
By the way, Gunther did score 40.
Yeah, that was what to say. 40 goals for Gunther.
I was just searching it up.
The problem is all these sites have so many pop-ups now that they just take forever to load and crash your browser half the time too.
Or crash your entire computer that needs to update randomly.
All right, that leaves us with one more series, and it's the Edmonton Oilers back in Los Angeles, but instead of Hollywood, they're heading off to Disneyland to face the Anaheim Ducks. This is the series of chaos. You've got a veteran, well, both really are veterans, coaches in Joel Quenneville and Chris Knobloch. You've got a very interesting goaltending matchup, and Lucas Donskoy and apparently Connor Ingram now, looking like this is Connor Ingram. And you got this a blue line, a couple of interesting blue lines, got a couple of young stars and some veteran players in Anaheim. This is the thing that I've been thinking about with this series. I mean, I think the Oilers should be the favorites, but I'll tell you something. If Edmonton fans are out getting irate about Radko Gudas and Jacob Trouba causing problems with Connor McDavid, which I do think is going to happen, I think that this series has a chance to be an upset. I actually think Anaheim has a better chance of winning this series than people think. They are a chaos team. They're not the greatest team. I'm not calling this team great, but they have something that they like. If they can extend this series and just put enough questions into Edmonton, they have a chance. If this goes quick, this is Edmonton. If this goes lengthy, I don't know. If Anaheim can win 1 or 2 games, I think that there's a chance that he could win 3 or 4. Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you are, Kev. I think that you have an Edmonton team who has struggled to find their game this year. Goaltending was a question mark going into the season, and it's even more of a question mark now. You've got, Bouchard put up 90-some points as a defenseman, but I'm still not sold on them being able to play defense as a team. Like, we talked about their blue line and everything. They solidified it with getting Connor Murphy this year. They've also got Jake Wallman, but we all know how just chaotic Bouchard and Nurse can be. I just if Joel Quenneville can get the Ducks to buy in and play a physical, grind it out, just slow it down, because I know the Ducks are just like the Oilers are a fast paced team, but I think they have some veterans on the Ducks, and they have some bigger guys that can grind it out better than the Oilers can.
Yeah, for me, it's man, I fucking hope the Ducks are able to pull this one out. Oh my God, that'd be so juicy. Just, I'm looking at these both these lineups. Okay, like I think the Ducks defense are better. I look at that right side, Trouba, Carlson, Gudis. That is veteran leadership written all over it. Then you have the young side of Lacombe, Mitchikov, and Hintz. In comparison to this, how much more can you rely on pushing Ekholm out for 20 plus minutes? Like he's old as fuck. Like honestly, he I don't know how much he has left in the tank. Look at that top six in Anaheim. Like you can mix and match that entire top nine. You can easily mix and match any one of those lines there. And Cutter Gauthier, he had 41 goals this year, 285 shots. He only had 19 power play points, for fuck's sakes. Him 5-on-5 is an absolute beast, and he's not talked about enough within this this new realm of the Ducks. Chris Kreider, veteran. Alex Killorn, veteran. Mikkel Granlund, veteran. Troy Terry, veteran. And then you're surrounded with young talent like Carlson, Seneca, McTavish, Gauthier. Oh, man, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as much as like if you can shut down Connor McDavid, and you got to hope that Draisaitl isn't 100% either, because he's coming off that injury as well. Man, the Ducks have more of a chance than you'd think, especially with that goaltending matchup, Dostal versus like fucking Ingram or Jari.
It looks like it's going to be Ingram. Looks like it's going to be Ingram.
It's going to be Ingram, but you know that Jari's going to fucking he's going to be in the series. He's going to be like realistically, because you don't have a number one. You're grasping at straws here, and if you're an Oilers fan, you got to hope that they have some. They go back to the Cup final. Otherwise, I don't see McDavid coming back.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
As Devin said, like you talk about the third line, and you got Cutter Gauthier on the third line with Mason McTavish and Ryan Palin. Then you've got one veteran you haven't even mentioned yet is Frank the Tank Vetrano.
Yeah, yep. There you go.
Yeah, and the fourth line, it's not going to play much, but again, it's another fourth line that's built to punish. Tim Walsh and Justin Veal are big physical dudes, and again, that, as you said, Deb, the right side of the Ducks blue line, big. Like you got Trouba and Gudis that are just big and physical, and Carlson who can run that power play. So, yeah, I think I don't think we've picked many upsets yet but I think you look at the Oilers have gone to the Cup final 2 years in a row. They've got Draisaitl on. He's coming back and playing, but you know he's not 100%. And this team has not been cohesive all season. Ducks in 7. I'm taking that upset.
Kev, before you go, I just want to mention as well, like both those power play units could be 1A, 1Bs, realistically. You have the veteran power play unit of Kreider, Carlson, Terry, both Carlsons and Granlund. Then you have Killorn, McTavish, Seneca, Lacombe, and Gauthier. Like, it like putting those back to back. How the fuck? Like who do you put your number one power or penalty kill against? Realistically, who? So
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no. I'm gonna go Ducks in 6. I say Ducks in 6 because they're gonna win one up in Edmonton. It's gonna get in their fucking heads up there in Sweatpantsville, Alberta, and it's gonna be phenomenal. I can't fucking wait.
Wet Pantsville, Alberta. Love it.
Hi, Graham.
Love you, Graham, but you know.
I think this Ducks team is brash enough to do this. Like, I just think, yeah, okay, the Oilers have McDavid and Draisaitl, and there's no question about what they can do. But I think the Ducks are willing to go goal for goal with them. One guy that I'm very intrigued about in this series is Mason McTavish. He was at times a healthy scratch this year. He was a healthy scratch for one game at least this year. But if he is the physical presence that we think he and can be, I think this causes a lot of problems. I'm actually going to go with it. I'm going to pick the Ducks as well. I can't believe I'm doing this because I was kind of like the Oilers, but I'm going to pick the Ducks. I think a lot of people are underestimating this team. Like, I really do. I think that this team has got a brashness to them. They're willing to play in any way that you want to play. And I think that there's going to be a lot of Oiler fans that are going to be very angry at Jacob Trouba and Radko Gudas throughout this series.
Justin Beal.
And
They're going to learn that name.
Yep.
So Ducks in how many there, Kev?
I think they win it in 6.
Hell yeah. Fucking love it. Good.
Okay. All right. So that's, I think the only one that we disagreed on was Utah, Vegas, and Minnesota, Dallas. We had some disagree, but we're kind of, that's it. So let's kind of touch on the Leafs as quick as we can.
I'll let you two touch on the Leafs. I gotta go, unfortunately. Okay. But I'll let you guys touch on the Leafs. So if you want to follow me, I'm BeardyCanucks03 on Twitter.
All right.
So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
Bye, Sean.
Bye.
Bye for now. Sean will be back this weekend, and we'll kind of unpack the Canucks and what happened there during that podcast. But we haven't had a chance to talk to Devin since for a while, and there's been a lot of drama in Toronto with really starting. I think the drama really hit its cliff. Speaking of Anaheim, when Radko Gudas ended Austin Matthews' season, and William Nylander stared at Radko Gudas, but claimed he could not see Radko Gudas hitting Austin Matthews. Morgan Riley stared at Radko Gudas and claimed he could not see Radko Gudas. And nobody on the team responded to Radko Gudas's hit on Austin Matthews. He did get a suspension. That's a whole other thing. But then, of course, Brad Treliving has been fired since before the end of the season. And, of course, one of the names that was in the Toronto Maple Leaf general manager conversation was hired by the New Jersey Devils in Sonny Mehta, formerly of Florida. Well, maybe I'll just give you the floor. Where are we at here with Toronto?
Oh my God. I like going back all the way to the just right after the Olympic break. That was kind of where it was okay. Well, it was a week and a half until trade deadline or something like that. It was a quick turnaround between the beginning of the the start again of the season after the Olympic break. So there was all that talk about Matthew Nyes potentially being traded as well, and in the rumor mill, which I don't think sat really well within that locker room. And then, yeah, as you said, the Matthews hit, the lack of response from everybody. I don't give a shit. I don't care who you are. If your captain gets hit like that, whether or not it's clean or dirty. If you see him go down, you have to scrum. I'm sorry. I'm very much a pro guy about hits and not jumping at every single big hit that happens. But when it's your captain, there has to be something. There has to be something. And I'm almost to the point of Max Domi jumping off the bench and going to fuck up Gudis. And I know that's a hefty suspension. Clarkson did it in preseason way back in the day, and that costed him a lot of money and a lot of time not playing games. But when it comes to your captain, I don't care. You have to protect him. He's your franchise player, but it goes to show what that locker room is and how it feels, and which is unbelievably disappointing, disheartening, especially for the amount of passion that is around the Maple Leafs. Whether or not you like the Maple Leafs or not, it is despicable and disgusting how they responded. And even if so they play them 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and Max Domi gets his licking in with Gudis. It's too late. It's way too late. Even later in that game, you start running around a little bit and start hitting more, being more physical. It's too late. What's happened has already happened, and it needs to happen instantaneously. Look at Buffalo versus Tampa Bay. Rasmus Dahlin got face washed, got punched, got roughed up, and every single time there was a scrum, Buffalo was in there. They were doing that shit. They were getting in and making a statement that you can't do that to our captain. You can't do that to one of our best players. So it boggles my mind, as you can hear, that we're at this point with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I don't know what to really. It's still decompressing of how unfortunate this season has gone. You have Brad Treliving, who's been who was let go of his duties, and now they're having a search for a new GM. You have William Nylander, who said, "Okay, well, it depends." That he's been asked whether or not he's going to be back or if he wants to get traded, and he says, "Well, if it's short turnaround within this retool, rebuild, whatever RE word you want to use, then he'll be back." Which is completely fair. Then you have Austin Matthews, who was asked, "What do you think? Are you wanting to come back?" And he neglected to really say. But I can tell you right now, Austin Matthews does not want to be back within this locker room. I would be baffled if he decides to stick with this team going forward, unless there's a massive change. You trade Willie, you trade Morgan Riley, and have some sort of quick turnaround. Which there's a lot of teams out there who would love to have that ability to have that quick turnaround, so that you can keep Austin Matthews happy and keep him in the league or as the Toronto Maple Leaf. But I think the reality is that they are in a similar but different circumstance, like the Vancouver Canucks. I think both franchises are looking at 7 to 10 years before they become contenders again, or even just getting into the fucking playoffs. There needs to be change up top. There needs to be change within that dressing room, because both are fucking toxic.
Yeah, I think that is, I think ultimately this team never really played for Craig Berube this year. Just a lot of quotes about Craig Berube just not understanding this team, just the lack of passion, just a lack of there was a tie. It's hard to imagine an incredibly toxic locker room. And you're right. I think it needs a fresh coat of repaint there. And I said this before. I think that the Leafs at times want to be loved. And I think that that's the complete opposite of what the Florida Panthers want to be, which is they don't care if they're loved. And like you look back at like this team that had Wendell Clark, Doug Gilmour, Gary Roberts, like Matt. Well, I mean, Matt Sundin wasn't a tough guy, but there was some really like Wayne Simmons, like within the years, like this to see that kind of like. I kind of felt that whole situation with Austin Matthews was an absolute insult to all of the kind of Leaf alumni to me. And you're right. I don't think you should come back with William Nylander. I really don't. Morgan Riley, one trade that has not been discussed enough in Toronto, Devin, is the Rasmus Sandin one, where he was traded for Eric Gustafsson during that couple was like 3 years ago where Kyle Dubas made all these moves. That one, I think they're missing. They do miss Sandin a little bit. I mean, OEL is okay, but he's aging. You need to find a goalie that can stay healthy. And even Anthony Stolarz earlier in the year kind of called this locker room out, didn't he? And said, look, this locker room is not standing up for each other. And even go back to last year and Sam Bennett hitting Anthony Stolarz, there was all of the conversation was all about how many games he should have been suspended, but nobody went after Sam Bennett back then.
Yep.
So this has been kind of lingering for a while.
Well, and think about O'Reilly, Foligno, trade deadline, like if we're doing first overalls first round picks for those two guys, and O'Reilly didn't want, like he at the beginning he was excited to be there, but then he realized, holy fuck, I do not want to be here because of the spotlight, and I'm guessing because of the room. And same with Nick Foligno.
Yeah. Yeah, his conversation about the room in Minnesota is much different than the room in Toronto. Yeah. And
so it just goes to show that there's something off within that room. There's something off within that organization. And I think it needs to be a full overhaul. And I think what you do is you trade Nylander, you trade Matthews, you trade the goaltenders, and start new. You start with a brand new base, and you know who that base is Easton Cowan.
Yeah,
he is the bright spot within that organization right now. He has passion. He has skill. He reminds me of a lighter, way lighter version of a Wendell Clark, but I think he has that leadership skill. I really do.
Yeah. And then, let's look at True Living and his trade. Sorry, the Brandon Carlo trade was just
throw up.
I've asked everybody, but I think it's pretty clear. The Brandon Carlo trade is worse than the Travis Hamonic trade, even though the Hamonic trade was an unprotected pick. Or the Hamonic trade was worse than the Carlo trade. Sorry, it's the other way around. The Hamonic trade was worse than the Carlo trade because you can kind of understand what the Leafs were doing there. You're trying to add to a Stanley Cup run, but that was way too much to give up. And then he just threw in, and he thought he could replace Mitch Marner in the aggregate, and he couldn't.
No, Matthias Michelli, no, he's not the replacement. Nicholas Waugh, no, he's not the replacement. I know he's not trying to replace that player. You're trying to bolster everything around losing a 100-point player within Mitch Marner. And I'm not saying Mitch should have stayed. I don't know. I think it was good for him to move on, but I think it would have been way better for him to be traded at that trade deadline. I know that's crazy. I thought about this multiple times, and I think he should have been traded at that trade deadline, even though, yes, they were on the verge of going far within the playoffs. and revisionist history, but it's how many times have you gone to within, okay, so you have Johnny Gaudreau last year of his contract, let him basically walk, right? You have Matthew Tkachuk, right, who also said, hey, I don't want to be here, which is really nice. So you traded him, and he did the best he could within that trade. And then you have Mitch Marner, and these are all Brad Treliving. But I'm talking, what my point is that when you have a top end player coming to the end of their tenure or of their contract, their last year of their contract, they need to have some sort of clarity to see what the fuck is happening. If realistically, if you're looking at it and they want to be there, that's fantastic. Yes, sign them. They want to be there. They want to be part of the change. They want to be part of that culture. They want to be be part of a winning team. Absolutely. But if they're like, well, I don't know, we'll see where we're at the end of the year. No, what you do is you get assets for that fucking player. I'm adamant on this now. Both my teams have gone through this 3 times. If they're not sure about where they want to be, all right, fucking trade them. I don't care if you're first in the fucking Pacific, first in the NHL. It doesn't matter. You need to have asset management properly done. And like the whole thing was like, well, maybe we can just have them as a rental without paying for anything for them. Well, then they're walking for nothing potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, the talk was Marner for Rantanen at the time.
And I think Rantanen he X'd that. He didn't want to come to Canada.
I thought it was Marner that X'd it.
I believe it was Rantanen who didn't want to come to Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been wrong before.
Who knows?
But yeah, this is it's just a whole I think ultimately what Treliving was trying to do is put round holes in square pegs and just hope that everything would work, and it just didn't. And I think Treliving is a good human being, but I just don't know if I could trust him with a hockey team anymore. And you're right, we saw this in Calgary. He kind of rushed. He rushed back. Ultimately, I totally understood why he went with the Huberdeau Weegar Kadri move, but he rushes where I think he needs to be a bit more thoughtful, and he has often acted with more emotion than I think he's cared to admit, and I think that's one of the areas that cost the Leafs. But do you have so I guess the names that are coming up here is Mike Gillis is one name. Do you see that as a possibility, or do you have another name in mind?
Gillis, yeah, he's up there, I guess. Pronger is as well. Daniel Pridham has always been in the mix. I'd love to revisit if they would be up for it. One of the Hunter boys,
right?
And I don't know. Like for me, it's I don't know too much of the GMs and what they like. I know the GMs. I know of the GMs. And you can kind of, if they've been around the league long enough, you can understand what their how they work. Brad, he's always on the phones. He's always working and working hard as far as we know. You have Dubas who kind of sits back a little bit, more analytical. But I'm looking for a GM who isn't afraid to shake things up, who isn't just a yes man, and is able to manage upwards. That's one of the biggest things that I think is missing within whoever gets this next job as a GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs is being able to manage upward towards Keith Pelly or whoever is going to be, because it sounds like they're going to have a hockey ops, president of hockey ops position that's going to be filled as well. And being able to do that properly. A lot of GM or a lot of ownership within the NHL. I'd say about half of them really want to have not a full say, but they want to have their input heard. And if you can have a middleman within the president of hockey ops or the GM who's able to manage upwards towards the owner, that has a massive effect on the team, on the organization, and on the future of what this team is going to look like going forward. I don't care who it's going to be. It's whether or not they're able to pull the strings that they want to pull without having too much kickback from ownership as well.
Sure. Is Craig Berube back?
I think so. I think he is. I think he'll. That'll be the first. That he will be back. That'll be the first bullet that the new GM will be able to pull, is saying like, "Hey, listen, we tried Berube. We got to fire him. I want to bring in my own guy." Right. And that's usually the process of how things go. Is when a new GM comes in, good majority of the time they do keep the head coach, depending on who it is and if they are able to get along properly. And then that's usually the domino effect of new GMs. So I think he is. Will he last the entire year? My guess is no.
Different answer. Yeah. Well, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Of course, you got the draft lottery coming up, and that impacts the Leafs as well because it's top 5 protected. Oh, fuck, good grief! So they have to get into the top 5 to make sure that they pick, or else it goes to Boston. Oh, good grief! We'll have to we'll have to break that down when that happens on May 5th as well. Anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so. I think I'll just say that I think this offseason is going to be very telling on what direction the Leafs go. I think that they might be in the mucky middle like the Leaf or like the Flames have been in the past decade or so, until Conroy came in and said like, "Hey, listen, there's always that middling stuff of like, okay, well, what word are we using? Are we using rebuild, retool? We can use rebuild. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a retool." And now it's, having that ability to do that is huge for the Flames. But for the Leafs, I hope that they're able to strip that back and say, "Hey, listen, it's time for a complete rebuild here." So this offseason of trading Nylander, maybe Matthews, they probably will trade one of the goaltenders because they have a 3-headed monster with Hildeby, Stolarz, and Woll, right? So hopefully they can get some sort of asset for that at the draft. But man, it does not look good. It looks very grim for the next decade for the Leafs. So good luck to all Leafs fans out there.
The one other thing I'll say is I think one of the conversations that's going to have to be had when we talk about the Canucks is the handling of the Quinn Hughes situation, knowing that he wanted to leave all along and trying to keep him happy. I think the Leafs are in that same boat with Austin Matthews. To me, you have to make the decision. If he wants to go, you have to go. You can't keep him happy because I think that sets your team back a bit. So I hope that's one thing that Toronto learns from Vancouver here, because how they handled that Quinn Hughes situation ultimately, I think, hurt the team a lot. But I mean, ultimately they got the right price for the trade, but ultimately you ended up extending Besser, Demko, Garland when maybe it wasn't necessarily for them to do. And I think the Leafs are kind of in that same sort of pattern for that.
It feels that way. And how's that worked out for the Canucks?
Well, they're going to pick top 3 in the draft.
Yeah, they're going to get a hell of a player. It's about surrounding him with whoever that is going to be with the proper players and get that toxicity out of the room. And I think that starts with Petey.
Yeah. There's a there's a difference on two things that on our end here. Of course, I think Jim Rutherford needs to go, and I think it's probably time for EP40 to go. But I think there's people that will disagree with me on that. That's on our podcast, and that's fine. But we'll discuss that on Sunday or Monday or wherever we discuss that. But let's leave it here. How do we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter or on X at Gordhouse09. Yeah.
All right. Sean, as he mentioned, Beardy Canuck 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Chris Schneid's SCHNEIDZ, I am KEVOLE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Subscribe wherever you get your audio. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.